So I think we're ready to go. So my name is Joni Parsons. I'm co-creator of Revel 11. And we're so happy to have you here today. Happy holidays and happy December. This is my absolute favorite time of year, and I'm so happy to have Sue Stark join us again this year. We had so much fun making wreaths and designing tables last year. I have to have her back on. I'm going to keep letting people in as we are moving along here. But Sue owns two companies, one called the Wild Table and one called the Wild Blume. And I'm just so thankful that she wanted to join us today. And look at her very cute studio there in Bozeman, Montana. Sue, take it away. We're going to just get started right away and we'll go interact back and forth. So
lovely. Hi, everyone. I'm trying to get this big so I can see it.
We were just having a little technical difficulty before she came on. So here we go.
My name is Sue Stark. Thank you so much for having me again, Joni. This is always really, really fun to be able to kind of spread the wings. We do a lot of workshops in town. And so it's nice to be able to meet people from other places. And it sounds like many, a few of you have been to Bozeman or Montana, maybe watch Yellowstone. Anyway.
The big popular show these days.
Very popular. So today, as Joni had mentioned, I own two companies. Wild Blume is a floral design studio. We do primarily weddings and events throughout the year. So the summer is really, really busy, but we stay busy all 12 months doing weddings and events. We teach a lot of workshops, as I just mentioned, wreath workshops, flower arranging workshops in the spring, things like that. And then Wild Tables is a tablescape company. We put together thoughtfully curated tablescape collections that can be delivered to your door. So for your next small gathering, for whatever you've got going on, we do seasonal ones. So we'll kind of go through what that is. That way your next small gathering, the box arrives, everything is in there. You can set your table really beautifully and you can concentrate on everything else, your menu and your guests.
Well, and I highly recommend, hold on, I would love for you all to look at her website. Her creations are amazing. They're beautiful. And I'm completely captivated by what Sue does. And look at all of the snowy images and then the summer images all throughout Montana and all over. So definitely do that. She was featured in Martha Stewart Living and a lot of other magazines. So we've got a top-notch designer here today.
Oh goodness, thank you. Yes, it's been a great year. It's been a great ride in general. So it's fun. Yeah. Okay. So today we're gonna do about 30 minutes on some like wreath tips and tricks, and then we're gonna get to doing some tablescape tips and tricks as well. So we'll start with the wreath. Everybody, I know she had sent out sort of like a thing of things to get together so you can make a wreath with us today. So I have here is a 24-inch grapevine wreath. If you're not building it with us, you can get these at Michael's or pretty much like any Hobby Lobby craft store kind of thing. The reason that I like to use grapevine wreaths, you've probably seen wire forms as well, but the reason that I like to use grapevine wreaths are for like a few reasons. One, it's already really cute. So if you decide that you don't want to put greenery over the entire thing, you can leave some of your grapevine wreath exposed and it'll still look really decorative. The other reason is it makes it easy. In floral arranging, we use like chicken wire, or if you've ever done anything, we'll use like gridding tape so that you can put floral in and it stays where you would like it to go. We call those mechanics. And I basically think of this as like the mechanics, because it's going to allow you to put it in, place it, and it'll stay exactly where you want it. And it gives us a lot of flexibility. Grapevine wreaths are really forgiving. And this is going to make it just really, really, again, simple.
And Sue, I just want to add something to that. Yeah. You know, it's very sustainable as well. I mean, after you're done, you can either keep it for next year or you can throw it in the compost and you'll be done. So it's a really sustainable way to make a wreath.
And that, yep, exactly. And that's the other reason. I know that I was teaching a wreath workshop last year, and one of the gals had given it to her mom, and her mom pulled everything out and redid her own for this year. So it's a really nice way to, like you said, be sustainable. And we're always trying to do that, right?
Yep.
That's actually how Joni and I met. She knows somebody who does the slow flower movement, which is locally grown and concentrated on American grown flowers. And that's how Joni and I hit it off originally.
So Deborah Prinzing started that a couple of years ago, and
Yeah,
it's just an incredible movement nationwide. So,
it is.
and then she's written several books, and we've had her on, and some of her the writers in her books. I'm looking at all of her books right here. So.
Yeah, she's amazing, doing amazing things in the floral world. Okay, so you have this, you have some snips, some other basic things that I like to have around. I like to have paddle wire around, and I actually have it right here. Paddle wire. This is a 24 gauge paddle wire. That's usually the one that I use. Again, you can get something like this at like a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby. It's the really thin one. They come in different gauges. The more thick, the bigger the gauge. I like to use the thinner just because it's a little bit more nimble. It's just easier to work with. So I've got some wire, and then that's basically all you're going to need. The fourth reason that these are really, really nice, though, by the way, is because they're really easy to hang, whether you're going to do it on a nail or if you have one of those things that go over the door. They're super easy. Okay. So that's your basics for whatever season you're going to be in. And then today we're obviously doing winter wreaths. So for winter wreaths, I always have a couple different types of greenery on hand. Today I have some Douglas fir. I have some seeded eucalyptus right here that's coming out. I have some seeded eucalyptus. Beautiful. Some of this you're going to definitely need to contact with a local florist for. So I don't, for your evergreens, you could probably go to anywhere that's selling Christmas trees, and they probably have extra that they'll just give to you or like sell you for very cheap for a bundle.
Actually, I just walked down to my neighbors today, Sue, and they had a bunch of Christmas tree extras in their yard. I'm like, can I take those?
Yeah, exactly. So that would be my tip on where to get some greens for you, especially if you're not somewhere that you can just walk down the street and grab some. Yeah, so we've got Doug fir. I've got this seeded eucalyptus. I really like it. It adds an extra texture. It's a really pretty color. Again, you'll have to go to a florist for this likely. And then I also have some princess pine. I like to use 2 or 3 different varieties because I like how the depth of design happens when you have 2 different colors of greenery, and then you have 2 different textures. And then you add in even this like third element, and you can see how it just brings all of it out.
So beautiful already.
It's a good combination. It's one of my favorites. So that's where you're going to get started. So I've got my greenery, and then basically from there, I find anything else that I like, or like if I'm looking for a certain color palette. This year I went pretty neutral for everything. So I have some, this is called silver brunia. It's just like it's a gray little ball. The other thing I would like to just add, that whenever you're picking out natural elements to use on a wreath, make sure you're choosing something that's going to dry really nicely. That way you can have the wreath for the entire season. Like once I make this wreath, it'll be good until April. I mean, to be honest, it'll probably be good until next year because everything dries so well. So I've got silver brunia here, and then I really like dried fruits. Again, kind of going back to like being sustainable. So we dried a lot of oranges for this year. So I've got some dried oranges here. I also have some dried quince. So you can kind of use any different kind of
and Sue,
fruit.
did you put that in a dehydrator, or how did you do
These,
that?
A dehydrator would be the best option. These have been just cooked in the oven on low and slow for hours. So these were cooked overnight, actually. I don't know if I would recommend that, but
those are beautiful.
Yeah, so we've got the dried oranges, and then of course, keeping it festive, we've got some pine cones. And then I also have just some like little sticks, just like some little twigs. It'll just add like a little bit extra texture to what we're doing. If you wanted them, you can also,
what are those twigs called? Do you know?
To be honest, I think it's called like a tawny, or I can't remember off the top of my head. I can find out though and send it to you if you want to do in the follow-up. But yeah, it's kind of look like really small pussy willow.
Beautiful.
Pussy willow would work as well. But then if you wanted to be really festive, you could also use, of course, ornaments. We've got ornaments that you can use. Other elements that you could use would be like maybe some cinnamon sticks. You know, cinnamon sticks and oranges are a really nice combination. Pretty seasonal. Again, food related apparently. and then always bells. Okay, and then one more thing actually. I have ribbon. You can use any kind of ribbon. Wired ribbon is the best kind of ribbon if you're going to do a bow. If you're using an unwired ribbon, it'll be more it'll give it more of like a hanging aesthetic. It's really pretty. It's one that I tend to prefer. But I like, you know, the wired is really nice for a really like big, beautiful bow. So I have in my studio right now, we're kind of obsessed with velvet. So I have gold velvet, I have green velvet, I have black velvet.
Ooh, black.
Yeah. I also have teal velvet, which we're not going to use today, but it just happens to be right here. Yeah, I thought the black was just kind of an interesting modern touch to.
Yeah, I love that idea. Yeah, I'm sure it's super dramatic, right?
Yeah, super dramatic. I love it.
So you guys, my dog really wants to be a part of this today. So he's just going to join us. This is Juno. Yes.
Look at that. So cute. Okay, so so now that you have the basics, essentially what you hopefully just took away is that you can really do whatever you want. Find a color palette and then find whatever sort of details go along with your color palette. And for whatever season, so winter, you know, obviously we're trying to be festive for the holidays and those kinds of things. But if you were doing something for the spring, find some spring flowers that dry well, hydrangea, something like that, would be really nice. Okay, so just a few other tips to get us started. Basically, when you get your greens, they're gonna be really large and they are gonna be need to be cut down. The longer the stem you have, the larger and the more wild your wreath is going to end up. So if you tend to like things that are really tidy and compact, you're going to want to cut your stems a little bit shorter. And if you want something that's going to just be big and make a statement, you'll keep your stems or your branches a little bit longer. So what I do is I go through, I pick one of the greenery to be the base, and then everything else becomes just a detail on top of that. So I'm using the Doug fir as my base. Basically what that means is I'm going to go through, I'm going to cut all of my pieces. I'm going to decide, do I want to do the whole wreath? Do I want to do the whole wreath? Do I just want to do like 3/4 of the wreath? Do I want to go, I tend to go in the same direction when I do them, but you can also do them coming up from both sides and then have like a nice little detail of ribbon or pine cones or something down here to anchor your two different little wings. So I'm going to just start cutting some pieces. I tend to I would cut all of these, kind of going back to the sustainability. Use everything that you possibly can, because with the grapevine, you can even put the really small pieces in and it'll just add some fullness. So I'm just gonna, I just got some pine needles in my mouth. And depending, I will say this out loud. So Doug fir is one of my favorites to work with. I love how soft it is. I think it's just like a really classic green. I love the princess pine. I love the color of it and I love the long needles, but this stuff is sappy and your hands will get really dirty. So you might want to put on some gloves or something depending on what kind of evergreen you're using. Okay, so I cut a few pieces.
So how big are your pieces, Sue?
So I cut, again, like I put, I use all of them. This one's probably a little bit long. I might end up, this is, I don't know, this is probably like 12 inches. And then I have some that even go down to, I don't know, roughly more like 6. And then I still even kept the small ones that are at 3.
Okay.
And then what I do when I cut them though, I pile them in sizes. So in similar sizes. So anything that's like 10 to 12 inches will be in one pile. Anything that's like 4 to 6 inches in the second pile. Anything that's, you know, lower than that in like a third pile.
So you cook
Then-
everything in advance so then you can just go really quickly.
Exactly.
around.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So then you'll see I'm here, I'm gonna start greening. I've got my greens. I'm literally just going to stick this in, come from behind and tuck it in. If you can't tuck it in, just give it a cut because you're still gonna want this to be pretty flat on the back because it's gonna need to hang flat, right? Also, when you begin putting your greenery into the wreath, there is a front and back to the greenery. One side is going to be a little bit more like bright, and the other side and have more pieces dimension coming forward. And the back side ends up being a little bit more flat in color and flat in dimension. So you'll be able to tell the difference. Let me see if I can pull something up here. So like this is I don't know if this is going to be a good example, but here's the front. You can see pieces coming out, and then here's the back, just like kind of flatter. You might be able to tell more in person, but
no, you can tell from here too.
Okay, good. So then I'm just going to kind of go through. No, thank you.
And it looks like you don't care if it's very flat, that it can be kind of wild.
That's how I like to design. That's my style. I think that's part of like being in Montana. I tend to like things a little bit more wild. But again, just to reiterate that if you do like things that are a little bit more tidy or a little bit more of like that classic kind of look, I would cut things a little bit shorter and then you will tuck them in. You'll see I can do two sides. Like this is a bit more of a wild side, but if you I'll start some small ones on the side. If you like it a little bit more tidy, you'll use smaller ones. That's what I'm doing on this left-hand side. And you can begin to see the difference here.
Yeah.
This left-hand side is just smaller pieces, keeping it a little bit more tidy. This right-hand side is larger pieces, keeping it a little bit more wild.
Now, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat while Sue's demonstrating. So go ahead, Sue.
So I'm just going to quickly just do a couple more pieces. I'm not going to do a full wreath, just because I just don't think we need that. We'll just do some tips and tricks. So now we've gotten started. I've put the base of my duck fur in, and so now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add in my second greenery to add a little bit more depth to the design. If you don't want to go with adding greenery, I always use 2 to 3 different types of greenery in everything that I do, whether it's wreath making or floral designing. So I'm going to add.
I have some blue spruce. Look at the contrast here.
I love blue spruce.
This is from our place over in Roslyn.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, blue spruce. It's just a pretty color. So you can tell when you add those two together, just that color difference gives it a little bit of extra added depth. Okay, so now I'm adding in my Princess Pine. I'm trying not to get sappy.
So Sue, how do you get sap off your hands?
Yesterday we were trying to use Goo Gone. I think it's just you have to scrub. I don't have a trick. If anybody else has a trick, like warm soap and water, I think is probably like the best bet.
Somebody told me butter one time, but I'm not sure if that's accurate.
Okay. I've never tried that. That would be.
Anybody else know anything? Way to get sap off? Go ahead, Sue.
So I've added in just 2 pieces of the Princess Pine right here and right here. You can see how it just gives it a bit of a different contrasting color, contrasting dimension because the sizes of the needles are different. It's a very subtle detail, but it's one that you can still see adds to what you're doing. And I kind of just go in and tuck those sort of like wherever. On one other note, to add depth to your wreath, make sure that you're going to do the sides too. Add some things into the sides of it. So you have like a different profile.
Do you use smaller pieces on the side or the same?
Yeah, I would probably use smaller because it's just to give it a little bit, to pull it out just a little bit.
Okay. Is anybody else playing along? if you are,
Yeah, let's see some wreaths.
yeah, we'll see. Oh, look at me.
Yay!
Yeah, here, my hands are wet, so hold on. Let me see if I can pull some people up here.
I see Cassandra's.
Okay, there we go. And then
Oh, yeah,
Cassandra,
lovely.
hold on.
I like
look at
how you got
that.
this
That's
green
so
going.
pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. And can you hold yours up just so we can see? Okay.
It's like I'm just getting started. Here's my greenery.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
we've got this. We've got the base, and then now again, I'm still on the greenery. I'll add just like a couple more pieces of this, and then I'll kind of give you some tips on how to get the other pieces in. Again, when it comes to anything with a stem, it's just going to be really, really easy just to stick in.
That's great. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. Doesn't it make
you
a
really
huge
don't need
difference?
a lot. You don't really need a lot to make an impact. So you can see just like one little sprig of it, it gives it a little bounce. I'll add a couple more in, and then we'll get to kind of some tips on your other things.
Great.
Okay. If you do like the seeded eucalyptus, it is in season right now, and it is really, really nice. So I'm sure all of the florists in your neighborhood are going to have it.
Okay,
Or could certainly order it for you. Okay. So I've added a couple of more in.
So pretty.
Doing one side. So, okay. So now you've got your base, and then that's when you can start to add in your fun little pieces. So a couple of design principles are things in odd numbers, 3s, 5s. I don't always abide by that rule, but it is nice. They say that it's pleasing to the eye to have things in 3s. So like that doesn't mean you have to have 3 things necessarily right together. But like, for example, if you were using some pine cones, like maybe you would do 2 pine cones in one place, and then another pine cone just kind of down a little bit away. So it's not 3 in 1, but it'll look like a grouping the way that it is. Whenever I'm using, so if anybody is using pine cones, the trick to pine cones is the wire. Again, this is another reason that you use the really skinny wire. So just unroll it, give it a cut. Then I take my wire and I take my pine cone, and I basically just wrap the wire then around the pine cone. Get the 2 ends of the wire now to one side. Can you see that? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, that's great.
2 to one side. And then I'm basically going to use one of these sticks. I'm going to take my pine cone, find my placement. So let's say, where do I want to put this? Let's say I want to just start right here with the pine cone. I'll take my wire. I'll put my wire through my little sticks. I'm going to put this down for a second.
Okay.
So now I've got it through the sticks. Now it's here. Now it's on there. And then I'm just going to tie the wire.
Yep. Does everybody see how she's doing that? It's really easy, it looks like.
Super easy. That again,
and such a nice addition.
That's why the grapevines are where it's at. So then, yeah, you just stay, and now it's on.
Fabulous. That looks amazing, doesn't it? So beautiful.
Pretty simple. Okay, so we've got the start of our pine cones on. Perhaps I want to add in a couple other elements. I basically wire just about everything on. Like if I were to decide to put these ornaments on, I would also wire these on.
You would, okay.
Did you snip the extra wire? I did not snip the extra wire. But you could. I basically just balled it up and have it tucked in back here.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, I don't know if you can see it. It's not the prettiest. I'll probably put a piece of greenery around it.
Yeah, and you would just take the wire off, of course, before you compost it, but
yep.
I mean, perfect. What else are you going to add there, Sue?
I think I am going to add some oranges. Maybe I'll do a couple of oranges. Again, you could do this, I think, in a couple of ways. I'm going to use wire because that's what I have on hand. But you could probably, if you had like fishing line, you could do that. The wire you'll be able to see a little bit. So I have green wire here. There is also silver wire. If you want, if you have like, if you're going for like a silver look for your holiday, that could just be a really cute add-on to the design.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna I'm gonna have it like a little bit layered so you can see both of them.
I'm so inspired by the oranges and the persimmons, and I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home later tonight, I'm gonna put them in the oven.
Yes. I love them. I've been kind of, I don't know what it is. I got on the kick of dried oranges last year and I have remained on it. Okay. So again, I'm probably going to need to put something over this, or I'm going to at least like have like a little piece of greenery over that. So you don't see it as much, but like basically this is my plan. Have them wired the exact same way that I did the
pine cone.
The pine cone. And then I'm going to place it where I think it might be cute. Maybe I'll do it right here. So maybe I'll kind of put it, there's like a little hole right here. So maybe I'll put it in this like little hole. Nice. You definitely want to make sure that you're like, you have it layered on top of something so that you can see them. Don't make them so tight that they're going to be in there and you're not going to be able to see how cute they are.
And then in a wreath that size, how many pine cones would you put in? And then how many little layers of oranges would you put in?
Well,
approximately?
I mean, if I were to do if I were doing the whole wreath, I would say I'd probably do 1, 2, 3. I might do like 3 groupings of the oranges because it's not a very large wreath, right? So like if I do a grouping here and then maybe you do one here and then maybe you'd go down and do one down here, I think you could pull off 3. But if you like it more dense, because sometimes I see wreaths that have a lot of things on them and they're also really, really cute. I sometimes live in the less is more world, but I think you can, if you really like the oranges, you can put as many on there as you want.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to put these on here so you guys can see how cute they are. What's our time? Are we in about?
We're about almost 3:30.
Okay.
So, keep going a little bit more on this and then we'll get to the tablescaping.
Yeah, you just give me the cue.
I will.
So then we've got our little oranges on there.
Darling. Isn't that cute, everyone?
And again, I would add, if I were doing this completely, I would definitely add more pine cones to this. And then I might add just like a little cinnamon stick right by this guy.
And where'd you get the cinnamon sticks at?
I just ordered them in bulk from from a grocery store.
Okay.
So they're just standard food. These are edible.
Yeah.
And then they come singular, and then I just wrapped this one with twine. You could wrap it with twine. You could wrap it with like a cute ribbon if you wanted.
Trader Joe's has cinnamon sticks. Somebody said, "Oh, that's cute with the plaid."
Yeah,
that's very cute.
So if you're
it's so interesting how things look so different if you just put a little ribbon on them.
It is true.
Or twine, right?
Let's
see if I have some twine.
We'll tie this baby on there.
I got some of this twine just at Joanne's. So see, just this little thing. So if you're ever looking for it, it's like $5 or something.
Yep. Joanne's is good for that. I bought some from the hardware store because I was like, oh, this is going to be more economical. And then I hated it. It was like a weird twine, so I don't even use it.
Yeah, this is really nice. Actually, I like it.
Yeah, I didn't know that there was levels of twine, but there are.
Who knew?
No.
You learn all sorts of things when you get into crafting. And
right. Okay, so now you can see I put that next to it with a little bow.
Wow. That's so cute.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do whatever you want. No rules.
And this one is so different than the one she made last year. So the one you made last year was,
what was that one?
It had
magnolia?
the magnolia and then the bells and then this beautiful gold velvet ribbon.
Yeah.
So completely different look. It's just, you can be so creative and
Yes.
inventive and do whatever you want with your creativity. So
You really
pull it
can.
together.
And you can
So
find stuff that you love around the
just do
house.
this
Oh
base.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. You
Just-
knocked that thing out.
Just the base, but
Yeah.
there's more to
Love it.
go after we're done here. So
Love it, love it. Yeah, so then that's basically what I would do. And then I kind of continue, just finish off with like a couple other of the items, keep it kind of simple. And then for this one, I'd be picking out like my ribbon. Since I've got some green in this one, maybe I would go green, or maybe actually I think I'm gonna go thinking with like the gold one instead.
So Sue, can you show everybody how to make a ribbon?
Cool. I'll be honest, I don't think I know I am a professional, but I don't think I'm necessarily a professional ribbon person. Again, this is not wired, so does make it a little bit more challenging. Actually, I'm gonna go see if I have some wired for you. Hold on.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask Sue while we're still on the wreath making? I see everybody doing all sorts of fun things. Cassandra, let's see yours.
Oh, I just had a question. Sorry, I just put a little sparkle. So thank you for like ornaments. I was like, wait, I have some of those.
Oh, cute.
That's very cute.
I have a question on, so for garlands, I saw a TikTok or something that said when you get your garland home, you soak it in the bathtub so that it will last longer, the fresh garlands. And I just wondered, I didn't do that and mine's already super dry. And I just wondered if that hack works. I'd never heard that or thought of that before. So just curious what you thought of it.
Sue, what do you think?
I would say
Thanks for the
yes.
question.
I would say yes, it would work because the pine needles are going to absorb the water through the pine needles will absorb water. It's just like putting a stem into water. I mean, it's not as effective, but it will hydrate it. So it's like hydrangea. You can actually dunk the hydrangea if you ever have a fresh cut hydrangea and it starts to look sad. You can turn it over and dunk it and leave it in water for like 15 seconds, the actual head of the flower, pull it out and it pops back up. Hydrangea is one of the flowers that absorbs the most of their water through their actual flower.
Interesting. Learned something
So
new
like,
today.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a good way to start. And then you can also through the season, you can also give your like garland a spritz, like with just like a spritz of water, and then it'll keep it fresh.
Oh, good to know. Just this little spray water. And do you do cold water then?
I would venture to say, well, and then I would be careful, like if it's outside, it's obviously going to freeze. Well, depending on where you are here, it would freeze. I would just do like room temperature water, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. Hey, Anne, will you show us what you guys are creating there?
It's pretty wild and woolly right now.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's terrific. Oh, good.
I was
Fab-
thinking I might tack it down with wire a little bit.
I think there might be some plaid.
That does work.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sue, let's see your
You want
how
to see this
make a
bow, huh?
Yeah, I want to see the
Okay.
bow.
This is really thick. My colleague is going to go see if she can find some thinner wired ribbon for me right now, because I might bumble with this one a little bit. But essentially, I kind of think of it as, I'm going to try to do this so that it's in your direction.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I'll do it like this.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so I basically, is that a wire?
But it's our Christmas.
This is what I use. I'm gonna use this one instead. Sorry, this one's a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, that other one was pretty big.
Yeah, that's like you're getting a new car or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so loop, and I go
Okay.
around. Loop it, pull around. I was literally just doing all of these yesterday, and for some reason I'm having like a bit of a brain fart right now.
That happens to all of us.
Oh my god. So around, and then you've got to get your other loop. So then I'm gonna go with the same one. loop that one. There's a gal yesterday at the workshop who her mom used to like work at a floral shop in the winter. And she said she had to do bows growing up, and her mom was like really hard on her about how her bows were. Oh, cool, okay. But her bows were beautiful, stunning. So, okay. So now I have 2 loops. I'm going to pull this around the bottom.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't think so. Hold on. I'm kidding. I'm doing it a different way. Double looping. There's a lot of videos on YouTube
Okay.
now.
Good to know.
do
We might
bows.
look at YouTube after this session is over.
Okay, there we
Okay.
go.
Wait,
Okay.
how'd you do that?
I'll start.
Can you do that one more time? I didn't see that.
Ready? Loop.
Okay,
And then I
ready.
got a second loop here.
Okay.
And then I'm literally gonna just
Oh,
crisscross, pull it through. And then that'll be like the base of it. So now you pull
Yeah.
it through, and then you're gonna wanna, then you'll start fussing with it, right?
yeah.
So you're gonna, like,
That's-
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the, make sure just the ribbon's all in like the right direction. Pull these guys down a little bit, maybe. Pull this
Such
one down.
cute ribbon.
Thank you. This was actually, we actually did a really modern wreath last year that we used this ribbon for. So this is as good as my ribbons get.
That's great. And I just learned how to make a ribbon in a new way, which is fabulous. Thank you.
This is the story of my life. Like, just make it so it works and it looks cute. And
Good.
then what I would do with this is I again take a little bit of wire. I've kind of made myself a mess, but you can't see it. So take a little bit of wire. This will be my front, so I'll put the wire into the back.
Okay.
And then you can decide where you want your, so you want it on the bottom, maybe
Nice.
you like it on the side, maybe you want it hanging from the top. I think I'll just put it on the bottom just for the sake of today.
Okay.
I kind of actually liked it on the side though. Maybe I'll put it on the side. See how this looks. You can always change it if you don't like it, obviously.
Which is the best thing about making your own wreaths. You can do whatever you want. You could have a new wreath every day by just changing the bow out if you wanted to.
You absolutely could. So then,
Oh, that looks so great. I love
then
it.
there you are.
So I love the addition of the seeded eucalyptus makes such a difference with the texture.
Yes, it really does. And then if I were started to add any of this would also add like a really nice,
Wow, that's
like a really nice
difference.
yeah.
And that's
But
the
again, like-
that's the silver brunia.
Brunia, Brunnia. I mean, it's a plant. I don't know where, to be honest, I'm not really sure where this grows. I think it grows in a more arid, somewhere
Mhm.
more arid. It does not grow here. I will say that.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
go over. Anybody before we go over to tablescaping have any questions about Sue's wreath? Oh, Darlene was wondering, I'm curious what you would sell that for.
Oh. If I finish the whole thing,
Mhm.
I would likely end up selling it for anywhere, depending on how many things I put on it, obviously, anywhere, probably starting around 75.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the price goes up as things, the sizes go up and more things get added and whatnot.
Terrific. Okay, well, let's go over to some tablescaping and,
Yeah.
the holidays are such a wonderful time to celebrate and have people over, whether it's a small group or a large group, medium size. And I'm always like, what can I do to make this table look a little bit different? What can I add to make it cozy and comfortable for everyone? And Sue's the Wild Tables has so many great ideas, and it's something that you can just pre-order and it will come to your door, which she's going to have a discount promo code for you all, which I'll email out tomorrow along with the video.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we're gonna kind of figure out how I'm gonna be able to make this be seen. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna go through a couple of the basics that I think about when I'm putting together a tablescape. And then we'll go through it. And just to reiterate, yes, you'll have a promo code tomorrow. I do full collections, which you'll see we're going to go through a full collection today. And then I also do have an a la carte menu on the website. So as I mentioned, we have a thing for velvet right now. I have green velvet runners that we're pretty obsessed with. And these you can purchase just singularly from the website as well. So you can buy the full collection, which will come with everything we're about to talk about, or you can just get singular items if that's more for what you're looking for. Perhaps you really like to put tablescapes together. Okay, so when I'm thinking about doing tablescapes, I'm thinking about a few things. Obviously, today we're going to be talking about winter gatherings, but if you're doing, like, for example, like a birthday, maybe I would think about like what is something that the birthday person really, really enjoys. Maybe if you're here, you're doing it for your husband, maybe they're a fly fisher. You could have little flies or something fishing related included in your tablescape. If it's for a bachelorette party, you could use disco balls. Pretty much you can use whatever you want. I use river rock. I use walnuts. I use pretty much, I get a lot of my inspiration from where we live. So I tend to lean into the natural a little bit more. But you can really, sky's the limit. If you wanted to do a tablescape for the holidays and do ornaments as part of your decor, you could also do that. It would be really, really cute. So that's one thing that I start to consider. The other thing that I'm always thinking about when I'm doing a tablescape is how is your dinner service going to be? If you're doing a buffet style versus a family style being like you're putting all the sides down the middle of the table, people are going to be passing things around, or if they're going to grab their plate and they're going to move down a buffet, it's very different. Family style limits your space. So you will end up having a really beautiful table, but taking it all off so that you can put the food down. So it's just something that I think about when I'm considering what's happening. I typically run through a checklist of 4 different sort of categories when I'm putting a tablescape together. The first one I generally call like fabric. So for that, it would be the velvet table runner. That would be if you're doing a full tablecloth, or you don't have to use that, but I always am considering that. The other thing under fabric is napkins, fabric napkins. I think if you're ever having a dinner party, fabric napkins are one very simple way to elevate the table. So we have fabric napkins for this holiday. We're doing these navy and green plaid that go with the with our velvet runner. So that's our fabric piece. Then I'm always thinking about something organic that's going to go down the table. So that could be a floral centerpiece, that could be bud vases, so just like little one flower coming out. Again, in that organic level though, again, I use natural elements for the most part. I would even put something down there, like if I was like thinking about using river rock. But this is where it would also be like, you could use your ornaments or the disco balls or whatever that is. So maybe perhaps it should just be like a main focal decor element is what you could consider that. So you got your fabric, you've got your main focal decor element. Okay, just give me 1 second. I just need to, will you go see if there's a
Extension?
yeah, there's one somewhere. Okay, sorry, battery.
You know what, batteries, I
Battery
told you
crisis.
that I had to plug in so we wouldn't go offline.
Yeah.
It's always something as we were talking about.
Truly technology. Okay, so fabric, focal decor element, wax. I love candles. I think candles just create the ambiance for everything. You probably already know, but since we're doing a workshop, I'll just kind of go through what they are, different candles are. You have your taper candles, which are going to be like your long, tall. These are really cute. We have them on the website. They're cream hobnail. But so
I was going to
taper
say that
candles.
the texture on those are lovely.
Yeah, They're really
That's-
cute. These
yeah.
have been burned already, but you would not get a burned one. And then obviously you have some sort of candle holder, whether it's a candelabra. We have these sort of shallow gold candles. So this is a taper candle. Then you've got pillar candles. These are really just like kind of the everyday candle. They come in, I mean, all candles come in basically every color, but like they have like the long burning time. I feel like they can be pretty much incorporated into everything. They do although that you can tell they just have a different vibe than the taper candle.
Mhm.
Oh, perfect.
So do
So,
you use soy or do you care?
I would say these are both soy, but I would
Mhm.
also say that I go for aesthetic probably over what they're made out of.
Okay. Just wondering.
I have not done enough research on, I'm sure that, is there something like healthier about soy candles?
Yeah, it's much healthier, but that's okay. Continue on.
But these are both soy, so there you go. Okay, so we've got taper candle, we've got the pillar candle, and then votive candles are, like the smaller, they come in we don't sell tea lights. Tea lights you can obviously use, they're the little ones that come in the like metal dish. I feel like they have a burn time of like 15 minutes. So I don't think that they're, like, if you're sitting around having dinner, you want your candles to still be there when you're having your like after dinner drink or whatever you're doing and chatting. So then these are large votives, but still considered a votive. They have a really pretty texture on them as well. Texture is a theme, right? Texture is a really subtle way to add depth to any design. So,
And then
we got
is that candle a full size candle?
it is
So
not.
you
It's
don't
probably
care, you
like
just-
it's probably like a 3-inch votive.
Okay.
Most votives are probably more like an inch. This is like a 3-inch votive.
Okay.
But yeah, so then you've got your candles. One tip for candles, taper candles can be a little challenging. So if you ever buy a taper candle that doesn't seem to want to stand up straight in your candle holder, which always happens, it's a pet peeve of mine. So like if I see how that's just going to be crooked,
Yeah.
if I just set it up, what I will do is I will burn the bottom of it. You can see that this one's been burned.
Uh-huh.
Burn the bottom of it, and then you can put it in, and then it'll stick in there more
That's a
nicely.
great tip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's also you could also use there are things that you can use, like I've even used like Gorilla Tape in a pinch. If I couldn't get it to stand up, just cut a piece of Gorilla Tape off, the double-sided, put it in there.
Yeah. The other thing I've done is just use foil and I just wrap it.
Oh,
And then just-
brilliant.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's a great tip.
another idea.
Yeah. So pillar candles you can put into glass. I'm sure you've seen the glass cylinders. You don't need that to happen though. You can also just put them on a dish. They make them, they sell them at, we have some, they're terracotta, so I don't have them out right now. But they've got clear ones, white ones, like any sort of, like Hobby Lobby has them, Michael's would have them. We will eventually have them on our website, so stay tuned. Or depending on how like the rest of your thing, these are good enough that you can just put them just on the table
Okay.
without anything underneath it. So, okay. So candles, focal, and then the fourth element, this is kind of what I think is like the icing on the cake. It's what I call like your detail. So in every place setting, I like to have something small for the guests when they sit down, sort of like a little present or something. This year, we are doing bells with walnuts on our place setting. So I will kind of go through and I will make up a really quick little place setting for us and put everything
Great.
out. I'm gonna see how, ooh, technology.
Here we are. We're gonna go in circles.
Okay. Okay, all right, can you see?
Yes, perfect.
So again, we've got our fabric, so our green
I love
velvet.
that. I just love that color. It's so pretty. It's just
I know.
luscious color.
When they came in, I was ecstatic. One of the biggest challenges I think about after like starting Wild Tables has been sourcing, especially because I started it right around COVID. And so everything, I had to, you know, find things online and then get them shipped in. And half the time, you know, everybody knows online shopping. And like, I got it and I'm like, that's not like, what? That's not what it looked like it was going to be. So this came in and I was like, we scored. Okay. So got our little, obviously this would be in the center. Obviously the tablecloth would be in the center of the table. So maybe I'll kind of push it up a little bit. I just want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So we've got our table setting here. When you do order your Wild Tables, it does come with like a little cheat sheet. So if you ever wonder how to set the table, obviously you can Google it, but this just comes, so shows you how to do things. There are different levels. Like if you want it really formal, you're going to have far more glasses and whatnot, but this is like for what would be pretty basic for an elevated dinnerscape.
So Sue, thanks for doing that, because so many people are like, which way, you know, where's the fork go, blah, blah, blah. And we, every time you set a table sometime.
And I set tables all the time and I find that I still look at it. So I'm using my little cheat sheet. Now I don't have all of the things out, but so we're kind of going pretty basic. You've got everything out now. Okay. So then you've got your place setting, you've got your table runner out, and now you're going to get to your napkins. You have options with napkins. Again, a different way to just kind of like present your table. And there's on this little cheat sheet, there's 3 different ways that you can fold your napkin depending on what you want. So I really like this is pretty simple, but to me, it's just really cute. Just kind of fold it in half, give it a little knot. Give it a little knot, find your cute side. Obviously you don't want your tag to show, so it will be like basically right here. And then you can place that just sort of on the corner of your table, on the corner of your place setting. Now I have a charger. This is a charger, which is
that wood?
Yeah, this is just an acacia charger. Not necessary. You could just obviously only use your plates if that's all you have. You could even do your double salad plate on top of it. But this charger just elevates it just a little bit easier.
Makes such a difference.
It does. I think so. So then you have your little knot.
Cute.
So that's one option. Another option is called a waterfall. Waterfall, you'll basically take it. What I'll do is I'm going to do it kind of quickly here, but depending on how thick you want it, I just did two folds. The waterfall goes underneath your plate, in between. If you do have your charger there, or it can just go directly on the table, and about half of it, and you just drop it out, so you can see it from this side. That it's pretty cute. I'm not going to really. Maybe if I pull it up, this is.
That's super cute. That's not something that's a new idea. I've not seen that before. I love that.
And very easy. I just saw somebody pop up. I don't know if it was a question. It disappeared before I saw it.
Where did you get the chargers? Anne said.
These chargers in particular are from my house. These I got from World Market. We have some chargers on our website that we do source just through our wholesale connections. They're more summery right now. They're like a rattan, so they're really, really cute. But these wood ones I just got from World Market.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotta love World Market.
I know. I feel that. They send me like 10% off. I'm like, stop sending me discounts. I do not need to come here. And then the other one would just be like another knotted option. Instead of placing it on your table, like say you're doing a buffet style and you don't have your place settings out like this, you could just have your, I don't know if you can see that. You can just do directly here if you want it, or you can have it like kind of up at the top.
Yeah.
So those are just 3 really quick options. Again, they're all pretty simple. You can get really detailed and go on Pinterest and find a million folds, make a swan or whatever you want to do.
Sue, this has gone so quickly. We have about 4 minutes left. We can go over a little bit.
Okay.
It goes so fast, and I'm just captivated. So let's just keep going.
I'll just really quickly put this out so that you can see what's going to happen then. So I've got these. I've got some antlers here that we'll end up putting on the tablescape as well. And then I'm gonna shove, I just have some evergreens. Again, you can go down the street, go find your local tree place, get some additional evergreens. If you haven't even already started to do your wreath, put some evergreens on here. Then I've got some extra bells. So kind of just like, then I just start tucking things in.
You know what I love about Sue is that she does use the natural elements, which just really I relate to so much on the dinner table, and just bringing in nature, which I just think it's a component that so many people forget, that nature's right outside and we can bring it inside and it'll just be absolutely beautiful.
Exactly. And it's and you know, we don't all get to, you know, live in Montana and spend our lives outside like I do. And we don't all touch nature enough, you know,
Agreed.
and it feels good. We always, you know, I think there's a quote that says every walk with nature, like you come back you know, you get more than you sought after or something. Anyway.
For sure.
Okay. So for this, I've got a couple of these antlers. I'm just tucking in some greens. I might have a couple extra walnuts, maybe put some walnuts kind of in there in a little bit of spaces. I've got some bells. Add in your bells. Add in your bells.
So can you tip your camera down just a little? There you go.
Somebody's trying to call me and I don't know who it is, so I can't see what you can see right now.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not sure when I got this, but it's just like a glass Christmas tree. Like, I think it's pretty cute. So if you had anything like this or those little pipe cleaner Christmas trees, you can even add something like that.
Darling.
The thing that you want to think about when you're doing this part of the table is height. So as you go through, you'll take your piece and instead of having everything flat, you'll have a little bit of height. That's why you also use different types of candles so that your eye is going to go up and down the tablescape.
Nice.
So that's it. Those are your basics.
I absolutely love that. And I love the 4 basics. Let's go over them one more time. Okay. So the fabric.
So that's going to be your tablecloth, table runner, and your napkins. And then your main focal decor element. So your main focal decor element can be something organic, or it could be the disco balls or the river rock, or, you know, whatever you're using. Then your wax, so candles. I would use 2 different types of candles if you have them, again, in different heights, just to add a little bit more depth. And then it's a really fun way to bring in an additional color, like glass, like the votives glass, and then with some texture. And then your detail, which is going to be your little whatever you're putting on your place setting for your guests. So here, your guest sits down and just has like a really cute little moment for themselves.
And do you have a good source for bells?
I do not have a great source for bells, to be honest with you. I don't really want to admit it, but I end up buying a lot of them on Amazon. Yeah. Because they're very hard to find. So, well, and so, like these did come from Amazon. Okay. Yeah.
Well, Sue, I just appreciate you sharing all of your knowledge with us. This has been such a fun hour. Yes. I can't believe it's over already.
I know, that went fast.
For hours and hours and hours. And yes. But please check out the Wild Blume and the Wild Tables. We'll send out the video tomorrow along with a promo code. But make sure and just spend some time on Sue's website and look at her beautiful creations. As I mentioned earlier, you'll be blown away by her creativity.
Thank you so much.